What happens when two artistic rivals, one who loves to scribble and one who loves to ink, learn that making mistakes is just part of the masterpiece? Today, we're picking up our pens with the creator of Scribbles and Ink. This is Author Chats with Epic.
So we know you're a master of the drawing board, but we need to see how you can handle some silly facts. And we're going to call this silly cat trivia. So before we get to the heated interview, we're going to start with some silliness. Now, in this game, your job is to tell us if these weird cat facts are like totally a masterpiece or a mess. Are they real? Are they random? Are they true or false? You get a point for everyone you get right. And we only have a handful. So are you ready?
Ready. I'm ready.
Cats can rotate their ears 180 degrees. True or false?
That's a numbers thing because I know they can rotate their ears, but 180 degrees. I'm gonna say false.
Okay, it's actually true. They have about 32 muscles in each ear to help them pinpoint exactly where a sound is coming from. So, hey, who knew?
I was thinking 90 degrees because I've never seen the 180, but that's all right.
Me neither. Something you learn, something new. Here we go.
It's an educational program for everyone.
It is.
It is.
A group of kittens is called a Kindle. True or false?
This makes me feel dumb. I should know this, but I
No.
don't. I'm going to guess. I'm going to say false.
It's true.
You know what I thought of? I thought of kitten caboodle. I was like, maybe it's called a caboodle. And then I was like, no, that can't be it. Anyway.
Yeah, a group of kittens born to one mama is a Kindle. So there we go.
Kindle. I thought of the Amazon Kindle, and I was like, it can't be that. So
Cats have a special tuna sensor on their tongues. True or false?
false. False. Has to be false.
You're correct. It is false. It is false.
I think it's important to note that there is a fun fact about what adult cats are called when they're in a group. What is our adult cats called? Because there's a really good fact. This I didn't know this until I looked
This
it
is
up.
for all of our cat lovers.
You're gonna teach us all something right now. What is it?
It is called a clouder.
That's great. I'm loving these new words.
Exactly, right? We had the internet. We thought we knew everything, but it teaches us new things every day.
Okay, hold on.
Cats spend approximately 10% of their life grooming themselves.
That sounds true.
Final answer?
Well, now you make me doubt. But yes, that's my final answer.
Okay. Actually, it's closer to 30 to 50%. So they take a lot of spa days, spa time on themselves.
It's okay. It's okay. No, this was fun. We all learned something, and you are officially ready to join the Clouder. Author Chats begins now. I'm Daniel Rizak.
And I'm Cherish Mims, and you're listening to Author Chats with Epic.
This week's guest is a certified rock star of children's books and animation. You've seen his work all over Epic. You've watched Scribbles and Ink come to life on PBS Kids, and your students probably know his characters better than they know classic fairy tales. Author Chat listeners, get ready for the creator of Scribbles and Ink, Ethan Long. You can wave. Welcome to Author Chats, Ethan Long. So where in the world do we find you for this episode today?
In a bedroom in my apartment. It's has the best acoustics, and I have art behind me, and our apartment is in Queens, New York, right across the river from Manhattan.
Another New Yorker. This is becoming it must be where all the children's authors get together and congregate, right?
There's some congregation for sure. There's some congregation.
there must be a good community of artists, at least up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big community. I mean, there's a community that's scattered everywhere. It's like the community of people are here, but there's smaller mini communities. In a writers group that meets once a month, and I meet for lunches with people, and everybody knows each other, and it's pretty fantastic.
Well, that's great. You got to have a community. You got to have inspiration. So
Absolutely.
clearly, that's helping. So now, Scribbles and Ink isn't just a book series on Epic, but it is practically an art class for millions of kids. When you hear teachers and parents and that a child started drawing on their own characters because of your work, how does that change or inform the way you work and create every day?
How does it inform the work? Boy, it's a little bit of a rush hearing that the kids bring up Scribbles and Ink. It's more of a rush to know that they're kind of getting excited from it. And when I go to schools and I say, "Who's heard of Scribbles and Ink?" and 80% of the kids raise their hand, that's also a little bit of a rush. So there's a little bit of an adrenaline rush that goes along with it. Now, as far as having it inform my work and what I do, I think it just keeps me tied into the fact that I'm doing something right. I'm connecting with the right mentality, I guess is what I would go with, because I try to get in the mind of a kid. In some ways, you could probably ask my family and friends, I still act like a little kid. So I just try to tap into that as much as I can and stay true to my voice.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's great. Now, I was just a warm up question, but Cherish is the interviewer. So, Cherish, do you want to take it away for the interview?
So, Ethan, every creative journey has a moment where things really start to click. Can you take us back to a time in maybe your childhood when storytelling or drawing for the first time felt really meaningful to you?
Wow, felt meaningful. Gosh, there's so many levels of that I'm thinking about. My storytelling didn't really kick in until I was in my 30s. I wrote a little bit in my 20s, had some breakthroughs in college with my drawing, but the storytelling really came in my 30s. I was writing a lot. I was failing a lot. I was submitting a lot. Things just weren't going. I had uh, I had written a book called Tickle the Duck in 2003 before the birth of my second son. And I tried writing stories after that, and it just wasn't clicking. And at some point, we bought another house, and I got it settled in my studio, and I had done enough writing, and I had done enough failing, and I had done enough submitting, and all of a sudden, I could just write books. Like, it just clicked. I started just expressing things into words and pitching stuff and putting stuff together, and it was meaningful to me, not only because I was finally selling projects and making an income, which is part of it, really, but it was, all the hard work that had gone before that. It was super satisfying to finally make it to where I wanted to be, which was, I didn't necessarily think I was going to be a best-selling author or anything like that. I was expressing myself and it was working. And it was it was pretty amazing. And then that was the beginning of all the things. That was the beginning of all the Scribbles and Ink books, and 6 books a year for a long time after that.
It's
Wow.
awesome. That's amazing.
I think I read somewhere you have like 100 credits or something like that. Am I right or about that?
I try to count. I keep saying over the years that I'm, over 150 books and, da 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 da. But I started counting. I'm not even sure if I have as many as that, but it's at least 135. And some of those include little school textbook things that I wrote, or, they weren't necessarily mainstream. And a lot of them are illustrated. Some of them were illustrated for books that weren't necessarily mainstream. But yeah, about 150 most likely.
Wow.
Which came after, Tickle the Duck. After 2003, it took me until 2008 to really get it going again, and in 2008 just took off.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
I know. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, thinking about Scribbles and Ink, the contrast between Scribbles and Ink, it's very playful, relatable. When you were creating them, did the characters feel especially close to your own personality or creative experiences?
That
Oh
time
boy.
you found the pet rock, like you do, and then
Yeah.
right?
Well, I was walking. We lived in Orlando at the time, and I was fighting with one of my publishers in a way. I had some there was a grudge going on, and I was trying to sort through the grudge and figure out how I contributed to the grudge, and how I wanted this grudge to be over. And I'm not even sure this other publisher knew there was a grudge, but in my mind there was a grudge. So I was walking around the lake, and I said, you know what? I think it'd be fun to and I pictured a scribbly cat. And I said, it'd be fun to draw a cat named Scribbles. Just because it's a fun name. It'd be a fun name to have a cat named Scribbles. So I went home and I drew this cat named Scribbles. And that was that. And I looked and I was like, and I thought of Tom and Jerry, one of my favorite cartoons of all time. And I said, well, Scribbles needs an enemy. And of course I had this grudge in my mind going on with this publisher.
Right.
So I wrote Scribbles and Ink with this mouse and this cat. And I was angry, man. I was really angry. And the first picture book I did was them fighting. So them taking out their creative frustrations on each other until they finally fight. And there's basically a ball of goo that they crawl out of, and they become friends at the end. So yeah, the personality, the everyday mindset, yeah, it comes out in the work completely. And these two were formed out of frustration, which I find most of my stories to come out of, is that deep frustration. And maybe that's where my writing kicked in so many years ago, as well. I was frustrated, and and I take it out. I take my frustrations out on the work, and when I'm not taking my frustrations out on the work, I take it out on other people. So I need to always be
Zone in.
Focus on the work.
And in my zone for me to have a pleasant life.
Yeah. No,
well, I mean, look at the art you create out of that. So that's, that's amazing.
I know myself, and that's how I express myself. That's how I've lasted so long in the industry, and that's how I feel like I'm, when I'm clicking on all cylinders, it's because I'm taking my personal frustrations and putting them down into the work.
So many students and teachers are benefiting from you taking your frustrations out through your artwork, so that's,
yes.
that's great.
So
thank
you often,
thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah. You often speak about the importance of making mistakes. Why is that such a critical message for kids to hear today? And let me be specific, making mistakes in art.
I think they're all the same. I think mistakes in life and mistakes in art. The perfectionist in me grew up thinking that I could just draw something and it would be great. And I could do it one time and it would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And when there was some flaw in it, I was going to get scolded, or I was going to get it taken away from me, or I was going to, whatever that weird perfectionist mindset is.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a while into my 20s, into my 30s. Even now, I'm 58 years old. Like I'm still, I still get a little irked when I make mistakes, but I have a little bit more patience now to sit there and know, that mistake, it just wasn't meant to be. So you move on to the next thing. You try something new. You try something different until it clicks. So the mistakes are just guideposts.
Yeah.
For the real thing that you want.
To follow up on that,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You have
No, I'm just, I could go on and on about this, but, and I'm not a professional podcaster, so I don't know when to pause and let someone else speak.
no, you're doing
So,
great.
but no, the mistakes have been everything to my career, my relationships with my kids, my family. You think you have something solved and then you don't. So you have to start making mistakes again. And it's crucial.
Yeah, and I want to follow up on that just because I think this is just a healthy and interesting question to ask. But if when it comes to your creative work and just getting started, I'm always curious about how you specifically might have felt rejection as you started and you had this idea and you're like, oh, this is great. People are going to love this. What happens when, you put all this time and effort in and then it doesn't take off?
Boy, well, for a guy like me, I was good at art since I was 3 years old. So I made a lot of mistakes growing up, but it was all in the learning process. But I was pretty good already coming out of the womb, basically. And that was a gift. Now, when I got older and rejections came,
Hmm.
boy, oh boy, they hurt for a guy like me. They really, really hurt. Like I took them personally. I took them emotionally. I would, sulk for a couple days and then come back to the drawing table and, dry my tears and like get my markers out again. And like it really hurt and stung. And sometimes it still does. What I learned was I don't put that much effort into it anymore. Like I don't bet the farm on anything anymore. So, like I said, it's a defense mechanism, but it works. It keeps me from feeling like I've put too much effort into this for no reason, or I've spent all this time in vain and it's gone to waste. I'm in the morale business as an artist. I'm in the morale business as an agent. I have so many people in the book industry. They're there for morale. They're like, you know what? We know you're frustrated, but you can do this. And I
Yeah.
do that with our artists in the agency. You right now it's really hard. You're learning how to write. You're gonna do this. Keep doing it. You're gonna do it. And um, so that's I don't know if I went off track there, but it's
No,
all
that's
to me.
great.
It's all in the same thoughts.
I'm always very interested in hearing, I think too often we like to tell the story. We like to jump to the present, like, well, I had success doing this, but I think it is important for people to hear, especially artists, how, rejection often defines an artist. You become better when you've been told no, and how do you shift and improve on that? So I'm always really interested in hearing those stories because too often people do jump to they skip over that part. Well, I went to college and then I got a book
Well,
published.
they
It
also
was
can't. I've seen a lot of musicians. I've seen a lot of artists. They have success and then they camp out there.
sure.
They camp out in that success. They want the same success over and over again. They use the same formula over and over and over again, and there's no risk taking. And what happens there um, is you get used to people saying yes all the time. When you start over again with something new, you're at risk for criticism. You're at risk for the no's. You're
Hmm.
at risk for rejection again, and I'm learning to be okay with that.
That's cool. That we're always continuing to grow. So that's great. That's great to hear. Cherish,
Alrighty.
you go back to
Sorry. Here
Tea
we
and
go.
honey.
that's
I
right.
know. I apologize. But here we go. So, how has this series, when you think about Scribbles and Ink, how has it evolved from your first book to the interactive experiences we see now today on Epic and PBS?
Well, the first picture book was them fighting. They were angry at each other. There was violence and splattered ink and twirling fights and them rising from the rubble and becoming collaborators. What happened was Harriet Ziefert, who was the publisher at Blue Apple Books, who published the first book, she wanted to publish some new books, some little chapter books. And her main thing was always they need to be friendlier to each other. They need to be more friends. They can't be fighting all the time. And I was like, I resisted because I really enjoyed the fight. I really enjoyed that adrenaline of the characters. But it didn't work over a period of, it didn't work over a series of books. So they became friendlier. The drawings became a little tighter.
Mm-hmm.
The characters had to be moved. I was moving them around and all different things. They ended up standing on their feet more. They ended up becoming a little bit more anthropomorphic. Their dialogue became a little clearer. The books themselves became a series. Like the look of the series is steady. I've left myself room to try different things. Like for out of the box, I used a real box.
Nice.
I was getting ready to send it off to be printed, and I was like, that's not right. There were drawings of boxes, and I was like, that doesn't feel right. I'd be better with photographs in it. So I took 3 or 4 days and took these photographs. I went to the U-Haul store and bought a bunch of boxes and came back and took pictures of them at different angles. And
there you go.
And this works great. So I've left room for that kind of stuff. So it's just evolved. And then continuing on to PBS Kids, they took it and they just made them even more friendlier. They made them almost roommates. Like
nice.
Almost like they don't fight at all. And what's the fun in that? No, they don't fight at all. There's disagreements. It's just more human. So
conflict is important in a story, right?
No, conflict's important in story, but not fighting. And they've just become more human. They've become more characteristic of people who love each other.
Empathetic.
And empathetic, like family. Like there's disagreements, but you love them enough to know that let's figure this out because I love you a lot and I want to spend more time with you and I want to make sure we get through this conflict. Like that's how they act now.
Gotcha. Every creator starts with a blank page. So for this segment, we're going to give you kind of like a prompt of the day. And now your role, your job is to hear the Scribbles and Ink version. We want to hear the Scribbles and Ink version of how these play out.
Boy.
Yes.
So you want me to make up a story on the spot?
Well, just a
little bit.
Maybe. Yeah. Let's just run with it and see what happens. So I can start with the first one. Cherish, you has a couple as well, but so in this scenario, Scribbles and Ink find a magic eraser that doesn't just clean the page, but it erases a hole right through the paper and brings them into the real world. So what's the first thing they see on your drawing desk, and how do they try to fix your office?
My. The first thing they see on my drawing desk is going to be probably my cup with a straw in it that I drink water from.
It's important to be hydrated.
They're probably going to see my laptop, which I spend way too much time in front of. They're going to see chapstick, which I use incessantly. And what else is on my desk? It's super clean. They're not going to see any dirt or crumbs. That's for sure. Does that? And
I have the chapstick thing too.
It's kind of boring. My desk is kind of boring. I like things at my fingertips. I know that. I don't like to turn around to get something. I like to just be able to grab it right there. Keeps me moving.
I'm with you on the chapstick. I don't know why, but it's become like my go-to thing that like I carry with me all the time. It's like a warm blanket.
Okay, so Scribbles and Ink. We're given a giant bucket of invisible ink. What's the first thing you think they would do and what kind of trouble they would get into? This giant bucket of invisible ink.
Is this
invisible ink?
Is this G-rated?
Yes.
Yes, I think we're going for general audiences. Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm going to the toilet on this one, man. It's terrible. But I can't even. You're gonna edit all this out.
Of course.
I see themselves jumping in the invisible ink, coming out, and not being able to see each other, and they're getting confused, and then scrambling around looking for art supplies so they can paint themselves to see where they are, and maybe they grab the wrong thing. Maybe they grab permanent ink, or maybe they grab paint, and all of a sudden. Mayonnaise, anything, ketchup, like anything. And all of a sudden they turn to each other and say, there you are. And they're both covered with this multitude of different liquids and creams. And
hey,
I love
this
it.
sounds like a great chapter for a new book.
Is. See, they
print it.
They'd used the magic eraser, jumped out into the real world, cover themselves in the invisible ink, and now we're continuing this scenario. It's become a whole series.
Let me take some notes.
Okay, so last question. Let's say you woke up tomorrow and you had to draw with your non-dominant hand for a whole week. What new characters might you come up with from those happy accidents?
You know what? I did that a couple years ago. I took a week and I drew with my left hand. And I had a character named Lefty Wright, but Wright was WRIGHT, like the Wright brothers. Isn't that how you spell Wright brothers?
Yeah.
And it didn't go anywhere. And I think I've seen a book that was a left-hand character. I think it was Dan Santat and Mo Willems did some left-hand book. But the funny thing is with my left hand, I can draw really well. It's just squiggly. And I have to, instead of being able to draw like this free-flowing, it's a very, very, it's like scratching. I can scratch draw with my left hand. My contour is pretty shaky.
Mm-hmm.
And my shading, I have to scratch shade like this. I can't just go like this and shade and make it like I have to. It's just a very methodical scratch shade.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing a story about an artist whose hand got damaged. They became a dot artist using their non-dominant hand. So everything was like dot, dot, dot. And they would create these amazing illustrations with just dots with their non-dominant hand. I just thought that was fascinating.
Well, you know Chuck Close, right? You ever heard of Chuck Close? He's a fine artist, been around for many, many years. You know what? I'm not knowledgeable enough to know if he died or not, but I see his work a lot in museums and these giant portraits. And I think he was paralyzed many years ago and had to resort to painting with his teeth. And he ended up painting the same paintings, but they were done in with these circles, like almost like my left hand.
You get a method, right?
Like a method. Yeah, like he did a dot, and then you would do a dot, and then you do a dot. It's pretty amazing.
That's fascinating.
Chuck Close. Yeah, look him up.
Chuck Close. Look it up, kids.
It's amazing.
Use the Google machine for that one.
Use the Google machine.
So, next segment, future advice, which I love. I love this segment. But now, some might say we live in unique and challenging times for children. Or some might say that every generation, experiences their own challenges.
I would say that.
Based on your body of work, you clearly want to inspire kids, and you definitely are inspiring educators. So if you had a message for teachers specifically, what would that be?
Message for teachers?
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to my teachers, and I'm thinking back to teachers my kids had. And I'm thinking about the teachers that I see in schools. And the ones that seem to have the most success aren't mean. So that's number one. Don't be mean.
Don't be mean.
Number two is talk to the kids like people, not kids.
Don't talk down to them.
Yeah. Talk to them like human beings. And let them play. They might have work to do, and that's fine. Everybody has work to do, but give them time to play. Give them time to be goofy. Give them time to just be silly and make stupid drawings, and don't critique them, and just let them go. Not all day. I'm not asking for all day. Just because, like I said, everybody's got homework. Everybody's got things to do that they have to do, chores and things like that. But there's got to be playtime. I was sad when I heard some schools were nixing recess, nixing phys ed back when my kids were young. It became, it wasn't standard anymore. It was a choice. They could do phys ed or not do phys ed. My kids chose not to do phys ed. I wish they had, but yeah, play. So don't be mean. What was the second one?
Let them play.
No, the second one was don't talk down to them. And the third one is let them play. I would say those three things.
I love that. That's
Those
perfect.
are good. Those
Don't
are really
be mean.
good.
Don't talk down to them. Let them play.
That's all it is.
For sure.
Cherish,
So,
did you have one,
I do
right?
have a question. So when you think about all the kids watching, for all the kids watching who may have a pile of mistake drawings sitting next to them on the floor, what is the number one piece of advice that you would give them to help them just keep going, keep trying?
Don't look back. Express yourself, get it out there, make a mistake. I'd say if you're sitting there erasing it a million times, start over. Just start again. Learn it again. If you did it once, you can do it twice. If you did it twice, you can do it 3 times. So just don't be afraid to start over. Don't be afraid to don't be afraid to make mistakes. I have written full drafts of manuscripts. I have done full book dummies. They're not right. Instead of trying to save a lot of it and say, I did all this work, I need to save it. Some of it's good and some of it's not, and I need to change this out, and trying to save parts of it. I just scrap it and start again because it's fresh, it's new, and it comes back out in a new way, in a new form. You see something different you hadn't seen before. The trick is watching the line come out from the end of your pencil. If you can continue just watching a new line come out from the end of your pencil, you're going to be fine because you're always going to be moving. You're always going to be moving forward. You're always going to be in the moment. Because as soon as you hold on to something you've done and try to hold on to it and not move forward, you're actually hindering the process. You're not in the moment anymore. It's almost like nostalgia. It's like instant nostalgia. You're looking at something that was done in the past that you're trying to save, when really what you should be doing is putting your nose down and continuing to watch the line come out from the end of your pencil, which keeps you in the moment.
Yeah, it's like you're layering on top of your creativity, without being biased by what you previously did. It's like you have the kernel of the idea, so let's start fresh. Let's start again.
Yeah. You keep starting over. Is that what you just said?
In fact, I keep starting over. That's what I keep doing. Exactly. I enjoy starting over. It like I said, it keeps me in the moment.
So we go on our Facebook page. We ask our teachers to give us questions from students, and sometimes it's from them too. But this particular question asks, how do you know when a drawing is finally finished? This is a student question.
I think you got to feel it. You got to know what your goal was, and then you have to feel it based on that goal. I can tell any drawing in the world, I can tell it's overdone. I can tell someone, this looks overdone here, and they'll say, yeah, you're right, it is. And I can tell when you've stopped feeling it and started thinking it. It's a feeling you get in your heart. It's a feeling you get in your mind. It's a sense of this is done. And then what happens is your mind takes over and says, well, no, that's not done because it's supposed to look more realistic. I'm better than this. I have all these drawing skills. I need to be showing people how well I draw. And that's your mind taking over. When the feeling you have is it's done, and the sense that you have is that it's done, then it's done. If you put it aside for a couple of days and come back to it and you still get that sense, then it's done. If you put it away for a couple of days and come back to it and you feel like it needs more, then do more. But it's definitely a sensation.
I did want to just point out that students, teachers, parents, anybody can get your books at this link, which is go.getepic.com/scribbles. Cherish, I think we had one more question we wanted to ask him about maybe anything he might want to tease or something coming up that,
Yeah. So, I mean, your fans, small kids in the classroom, educators, they're always hungry for more creativity from you. Are there any new projects or secret collaborations you may want to leak to our Epic community?
Secret ones? I'm not sure. I know we have. We were just in talks about starting a new Scribbles and Ink book to put up digitally on Epic. That
I like
my
this.
goal for the digital books was always to at least do 10, and we're at 5 right now. So I would like to at least do 5 more. I've got
Yes.
I got 5 or 6 other projects I'm working on at any given time. I'm working on a chapter book series with Dan Yacarino.
Hmm.
I'm working on a graphic novel series with my friend Jason Eaton, who wrote Ice Age 3. I'm working on a picture book series with my friend Tim Steinauer from childhood. We've known each other for 46 years now. So I'm working
Wow.
on a picture book series with him. I'm trying to pitch another series. So I have irons. I learned early on that you can't bank on one project to live off of. So I keep many irons in the fire at all times, because sometimes the flame goes out and I'm just constantly reaching for projects. I create my own projects, and there's always something new coming out. And any secret ones? Yeah, there's one secret one that if we do another podcast interview, I'll tell you all about, because we most likely will have sold it.
Ooh,
Awesome.
I love to hear this. This is
Well, that's a
good.
Yeah.
lot.
It's
This
a
is the
lot.
kind of
So
stuff we
it's a lot
love.
of good things.
All right.
It's and I'm very grateful.
Well, my friend, that is going to bring us to the end of today's episode. So big thank you to Ethan Long. Thank you so much, Ethan, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. This is an honor, and like I said, I'm grateful for you guys, and I'm grateful for this world that we live in. As much craziness is happening, there's a lot of goodness to find.
Yeah, stay creative, man. This is we can't wait to see what you do next, and we'll be glued to Epic Books and PBS Kids for all your next adventures.
Cross our
But
fingers on PBS Kids. We're trying to get them to fund another episode of another season of the online interactive. So a lot happening.
that's
We're
awesome.
excited
Yay.
to see it.
All right.
Yay.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye, Dan. Thanks,
You can-
Cherish.
His story is really interesting. Just the way that he got started and the way that he produces work, I think, is really fascinating and interesting to take a look at, especially when he, talks about, writing through his frustrations and through his mistakes, and then, is able to come up with these amazing pieces that kids love today.
Yeah, no, that the theme of his work is kind of fixing things and solving things, and his characters use art in a way to solve problems. And you definitely see the inspiration in what he's the way he responded and stuff to how that plays out in his art. And so I just think that it's really fascinating. I thought he was great. So thanks everybody for listening. Thanks. You can find his entire Scribbles and Ink collection at go.getepic.com/scribbles. But thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on
Author Chats with Epic.
Yes. See you later.